Last time on Hidden Planet.
This is the Step Pyramid. It was built by a genius architect, Imhotep.
5 miles of tunnels beneath the pyramid.
Yes, this is the only pyramid in Egypt that queens were buried with the king.
Effectively walking through a model of the afterlife, of the underworld. All of these side tunnels, some of them are quite small.
Yeah, very narrow and difficult.
Wow, you should see it in here. It's fantastic. What's exciting is I really have no idea where these tunnels are going.
And now, part 2 of Inside the Pharaoh's Secret Tunnels. I'm Richard Engel. I've traveled to a lot of dangerous places, been caught in the middle of wars and revolutions, but there are also fascinating places that deserve to be explored. Many you won't find in a travel brochure or tour book. And I'm going to take you there. So pack your bags as we uncover our hidden planet. The Great Pyramid of Giza, also called the Pyramid of Cheops, is the oldest and largest of the 3 pyramids of the Giza necropolis. It is the oldest of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and the only one to remain largely intact. Last time, we visited the even older Step Pyramid at Saqqara, 19 miles away, and explored its unique labyrinth of underground tunnels. There are miles of tunnels like this one. They were built under the pyramids as passageways so that the spirit of the pharaoh could escape and move to the underworld. This time, we'll see normally closed chambers and passages of Egypt's most famous monument of all.
The Great Pyramids of Giza don't have, or at least nobody's found, an underground labyrinth of tunnels. But they do have, inside the pyramids itself, hidden chambers and passageways. They're normally closed to the public, but today we're going to get to see them.
Shortly after taking the throne in 2589 BC, at the age of 20, the pharaoh Cheops commanded his workers to prepare his burial place, the biggest one in history. In keeping with his status as a god and a king, he wanted his pyramid to be far grander than anything that had been built before or since.
This is the main way in, but once you get inside, that's when it starts to get interesting. This is the normal entrance, but if you take a left and you go down these stairs, there is a shaft that goes about 100 yards below the ground.
But trying to find the pharaoh's sarcophagus is sort of like being on a wild goose chase. The pharaoh wasn't sure where he wanted to put it.
At least there's light down here. I can only imagine what it was like to build this thing.
Cheops was the first pharaoh to build a pyramid at Giza. The entire project took 23 years to complete. About 2.5 million building blocks pieced this enormous structure together. At the bottom of this shaft is where the pharaoh first wanted to be laid to rest.
Cheops was an indecisive pharaoh. He didn't know exactly where he wanted his burial chamber to be put. So his architects kept carving shaft after shaft like this one, and then after they'd make it, the pharaoh would decide, no, he wanted it somewhere else. So they'd have to dig a new shaft.
And making matters worse, he wanted another chamber for his queen. This passage goes down through the pyramid and then connects to yet another corridor. Getting to the chamber where Cheops finally decided he wanted to be buried is somewhat exhausting. Certainly not for the claustrophobic, but more than worth it. This staircase leads to the 26-foot-high Grand Gallery. No one would have seen this pitch ceiling. The art and design were for no one but the pharaoh, and for him after he died. Once sealed off, the passageways were protected, at least in theory from thieves, by sliding granite blocks.
And this is finally it, the entrance to the main chamber in the Great Pyramid. This was actually a big lock going into the room There would have been huge stone slabs here preventing it. You can see some of the hinges where the stones would have been stopped. It didn't work, and this pyramid, like all the ancient tombs except for one, was looted. Here it is, the burial chamber, the last burial chamber of the pharaoh. And all of this work, the pyramid, the building, revolved around a relatively small stone box, the pharaoh's sarcophagus. And you can see this too was looted. It was broken into here. And the way tomb robbers generally worked is they would put fire on the rock, and then water, and then fire, and the heat and contractions would chip the stone, and then once there was cracks in it, they would pull it away and take the mummy out. These are one of the most interesting features of the burial chambers. They're technically called air shafts, but they weren't so much designed to allow air to come in as to allow the spirit of the pharaoh to escape and go on to the next world. And they are very deep. They just keep going and going. The pharaohs clearly wanted to be surrounded by tons of stone, but also to make sure they had a way so their soul could get out.
Toward the end of my tour, I was left feeling awestruck by the sheer size and complexity of the pyramids. They've been a source of wonder for centuries, not only for archaeologists, but everyone passionate about uncovering the mysteries of our hidden planet.